recently had a little bit of a controversy because they invited Hasan Piker to their podcast, which, if you don't know, is a guy that does the political content. And he has had some very weird scenarios recently and is a very big advocate for supporting terrorists, which is really weird. And I think whenever they invited him, it seemed kind of like they didn't really do a big profile check on what he's been up to recently and how the internet view him. Because once they put him on and the video came up, a lot of people were not happy seeing him on the podcast. And it had immense backlash. Now I can see that Cdawg made a little video where Connor basically talked a little bit about how they dealt with it and how thing was, because I bet the amount of backlash they got was quite overwhelming. So let's take a look at it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What am I looking at? Latest episodes have been bangers. Well, we're just trying to mix it up and try to do different things. But obviously, occasionally, people don't like things. Which happened not too long ago as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that was a whole, that's a whole thing. Yeah, you noticed. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is...
kind of hard to not know this.
And a lot of people don't like this because
I think that's really awkward for Cdawg because, like, I think that they've had us on before on the podcast, and I think they're like just friends. But I feel like they just didn't realize like what is this position on, and I think that at some point as a content creator, you can still be homies with somebody, but at one point, somebody what they do in their presence kind of like is so counterintuitive towards what their audience actually enjoy. So you kind of don't want to do content together, but you want to still be homies and you hang out off stream and stuff like that. But making exclusive content together might just go against your fandom, which is a little bit bad. The amount of
the way that we handle it, and the way that you should handle a lot of these things when they happen, like drama, is that just don't. Sometimes it's just better to just not address anything and just let it just fade. Mainly
that's the best way, to just let it fade and ignore it and move on. But I think that this scenario was a little bit more,
because when things get too heated, almost, you know, no matter what you would say in that moment, people are still going to be unaffected.
They're not rational. Anything you say, they will use as fuel against you. So it's most of the time it's better to just ignore it and move on. During these scenarios, 100% I get it. Like, definitely for content creating drama on the internet, people crash out like crazy about situations, and they will do, but they will cool down and move on to the next scenario in a week.
They're going to be unhappy,
or 3 days,
or at least, you know, the group of people that want an apology or whatever, anything like that. If you say anything, they're just going to be more unhappy, and it just adds more fire to the flame.
Pretty much.
So that's why generally we're just kind of like, all right, we'll just let it, you know, let it die down, let it move on. Let them get over it and have their fun for the week. Most of them are brigaders. Well, okay, look, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. So this is gonna get clipped as well. I know this now. So I want to be very mindful about how I approach this. If I'm gonna mention anything here, is that I think there are a couple of important things to mention. So I think, first of all, I think from our podcast perspective and from our perspective, if it is fair to say that if we don't engage in politics publicly, because it's just a mess. None of us live in, you know, the US. None of us are in any of these kind of intense political situations. I think it is also fair to say that, yeah, why would we bring someone political on? Which I think is a very fair and extremely, like, a very fair criticism.
I kind of understand it. They are British. They're all English, right? Like Welsh, English. Like they don't pay attention to American politics. And I can understand whenever there's any situation where Hasan is talking about it or he's making content around it, they don't pay attention to it. So they should not have any association with it. They're also like very much affiliated in Japan, and they're focusing on Japanese things. So when they bring him on, they're not thinking about American politics. So I get that as an argument as well. And I understand it for there. That's why I say that they didn't really look at his social profile, because at the moment, I think it's just the unfortunate fact that you have brought this political individual before to your podcast and to your stream, and people have not even said anything. It was just, we talked about anime and stuff like that. But now we have this guy's comparing a terrorist to Luffy. He's just like Luffy. And he is saying a lot of heinous things that even kind of makes people from other spheres that want to separate themselves and not think about these crazy nuanced things. They don't want to see him. They don't want to deal with him. And you adding his presence into it kind of makes them be reminded of it. And that's the boring part, because I don't think there's anything wrong to anybody in trash taste, because I feel like they are completely in the right for not even being aware of this, since they're not American and they're in Japan. They don't care about this, so they're completely separated. But it also should I think that in some ways that this is also like, you also like, even though they're kind of excused and I understand their situation fully, I think that the audience should also be understood. And I see this might hurt the podcast in the long run. I think it does for some, but I don't think it will do that much. Because as far as I know, the podcast itself wasn't really bad. As far as I know, I'm not sure. I didn't really listen to it. But I'm personally very tired of hearing about Hasan. So yeah.
Of us to do, which I agree with. And then I think the most annoying thing from my perspective and this whole thing is that there were legitimately fans of Trash Taste who were unhappy. And it's frustrating because you can't see or like actually hear from people who watch Trash Taste or who aren't happy, because it just turned into like a political dick swinging contest about which side, which is bad on our part, because like
that's the funny thing is that how I view this is that this was actually hate from the viewers, and not like random political haters going into hate watch and dislike it. And so they seem like genuine viewers. This was the reception of viewers.
We've never had any politics or any kind of talks like that in the comments, so I think it was kind of bad of us to kind of almost invite that.
Yes.
Second of all, the thing that was also very frustrating is that it, no matter what people were saying, there was a lot of brigading on a lot of sides, and I think that two things can be true at once. There were Trash Taste fans who were unhappy, and there also was brigading happening, which is also very frustrating to deal with, because then it's like, okay, now we can't actually listen to any criticism.
Well, the funny thing about the brigading happening is that the guests you invited actually did brigade your comment section and the like dislike ratio to his favor, to make it seem like people liked it more, because his ego felt very shattered with the fact that a lot of people disliked his presence. So he was live telling his audience with 20,000-30,000 viewers to go constantly like it and comment positive things down below and stuff like that. So it's funny that your guests brigaded it
on the episode, because both sides are jumping in, right? And and
also, like, a funny thing, I saw this guy, he said, I don't see how, he's kind of gone away, I don't see how it's US politics when Hasan supports terrorists. Yeah, it's kind of like a worldwide thing, right? This is nothing to do with the USA then. It is kind of like a guy is just supporting terrorist groups, attacking cargo ships and attacking ships around the coastlines, and just generally hurting people. He just supports them, which is weird.
Hasan, I was like, hey man, can you not? Like, it's bad enough that one side is doing this. Please don't bring up the fucking episode and be like, hey, send people.
Oh, so you mentioned that. Yeah. There you go.
I was like, just be above this. Don't.
Unfortunately, not.
Because look, if people who have very extreme beliefs want to go crazy, I can't stop them. They can do whatever they want. But you hope that at least another side wouldn't do that as well. So I told him, I was like, hey, please don't do that. And he was like, yeah, man, okay, my bad. But I think as well, I told Hasan as well, I was like, hey, look, the show is not political. We don't want to deal with politics. We're most likely not going to have you on again. No, and that's not like anything like, hey man, it's just like, look, We don't want to fucking deal with politics.
I mean, that makes sense. It kind of makes, like what I said earlier, sometimes you kind of homie with them, but you can't do content with them because of their online presence. It just makes sense.
I think the Trash Taste viewers also don't fucking want to deal with intense fucking comments. It sucks to read. People just getting fucking upset as shit about it. And I know some like fans of Hasan will be annoyed about that. But you know, I just told them, I was like, look, at the end of the day, we don't want to invite like a fucking shit show to the comments. And I think it was ignorant on our part to think that if we just didn't talk about politics, that it would stay out of it. Because that was our thinking, you know, because we already had him on once and it was fine. But some people were angry about it. But yeah, I mean, it was ignorant on our part to think that, you know, if you didn't talk about politics, it wouldn't matter. But yeah, you know, a lot of things have changed in 2 years. I don't keep up with what's going on. You know, I get all of my news from the BBC. I don't go on Twitter. I uninstalled it. You know, I think all of us will kind of...
Amen to that. I did that 3 months ago. It's been great. Actually, 4 months ago soon.
Kind of blindsided by it. So it was kind of, you know, a lot of people like they're out of touch. I'm like, I guess, like, I think that's safe to say if this is being in touch.
That explains a lot. No, that's exactly what I said, right? He's not paid attention to the online sphere of what his like his character nowadays, and he had no idea what was going on. Like, they just didn't know what the fuck what his presence online was, and they know him as a friend, so they thought to bring him on, and that's pretty much it. That's exactly what I assumed. Yeah,
living on Twitter and engaging with politics 24/7, because we just don't do that. We've never done that. I think that it's unhealthy. I feel like the level of vitriol is almost like at a point that is so like toxic to everyone involved, that I have no wish to engage with it.
It's so tiresome and boring.
So I you know, I just don't.
Yeah.
You know, I keep up with generic news, but I don't engage with any political spheres online. Like so it's kind of hard to keep up with.
No, this is how like normal people deal with it. Like, they just look at like some news site to see some articles, to see what's going on, and that's it. They don't, like, people don't go through multiple different sources of news outlets to figure everything out that's going on in the world. They just want to know like the general term of what's up. They don't read the articles, or maybe they read some, but that's like how the average Joe goes. They just want to know if there's something crazy going on or not, just to figure out what's happening. And it's mostly about like what's happening in their own countries. That's what they kind of want to figure out.
Endless doom scroll. And I also think as well, I think it's really important to mention as well that I think some people forget as well, just because we speak English.
Yeah, most people read headlines
are American. You know, none of us have ever lived in America. None of us are American. We don't keep up with what is going on. I already see too much politics from a country I don't live in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I have zero interest in American politics, but yet a lot of American politics is pushed to me both on Twitch and on TikTok. And I don't use Twitter. I haven't used it in a while, so I don't see it there. But I bet if I use Twitter, I'd see it there too. Like, I don't know about like Trump. Like, he's funny. Like he's a comedy skit for Europeans. But like, I can listen to him for 5 minutes once a week, and then I'm tired of him. Like, that's pretty much it. But the Americans enjoy watching him for hours and hours on end. It's not really like, I don't give a shit about this, and I think that most people don't give a fuck. There's a lot of Americans that don't give a fuck, but dude, I already have politics in my country that is a mess. Why would I care about and worry about other your like country's politics? Definitely whenever American politics is such a mess, where they have like a businessman actor on the play just going crazy. Like, I feel like that sounds exhausting to pay attention to personally. Like, I don't know, like, it's not my case, it's not my business, and I don't care. So like, I'm not going to invest my into it. So whenever people ask me about things like that, or I don't fucking know. I don't care.
That I don't want to know. I see more about that than my home, the UK, which is
that's the norm.
Crazy.
It is weird. Like, that's the thing I think Americans don't think about also, is that we see more, like, because of that, we see more American politics than our own politics. And we don't like politics. So a lot of people don't like politics, obviously. I mean, if they did, they would probably get into politics. So how do you think we feel? Like, it's actually so annoying. It's really annoying. American politics are spread worldwide. It is. It really is, and it's boring. I mean, like, I'm never gonna do politics in anything, but like, I've seen enough, and like, with the small things I've gathered is that this is the American downfall. I think that in a few years we won't be hearing about America as much as we are, even if there is an America in a few years. Like, how long the Americas has existed for 248 years, isn't it? 250 years, dynasty tends to fall. So we'll see how that goes. But point B is that I think that at the moment we're being Europeans are definitely shared too much American politics, and I hope that in some way that will kind of stop and slow down. And I think that with more countries like China and other countries taking a bigger step up, I think there will be just more world powers out there, and there's no reason to pay attention to every single one. But if we're going to start to pay attention to every single country, we got to get some news outlets that blocks all of this. I got to get a block politic button, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to, I just want to read my own politics, and that's it. If I want to read politics, and I don't actually want to read politics, because I think my view in politics is bad. I'll be real with y'all. I think they're all crooked bitches. So,
and Japan as well. I get fed fucking more American stuff.
I play games to separate myself from the world, you know? And I sit on the PC to chill out and vibe. I think that there's nothing more horrid and more reminding of the world than reading politics. Like, it's the least relaxing thing.
I turn on the news.
An interesting
it's
thing.
All American stuff. You know, and I think it's also important to mention that I think that, again, there were Trash Taste viewers who didn't like the episode and don't agree with it and who are disappointed. And I think that's valid, you know. I think it's fair to be. But obviously it doesn't, you know, just because we have someone on doesn't mean we agree with every single thing that they would say either. Now, fun fact.
I wonder how many, like, Europeans and Asians actually felt dead distaste for that episode. That is what I wonder. Like, was it only Americans, or was there other? Like, I mean, again, Hasan is a terrorist supporter, so it's actually worldwide, but still.
Because I'm sure people are wondering. I was keeping an eye because I was looking at what was.
If there are any politics I care about, it would be related to prices increase and everything in Norway. Electricity is actually criminally high, but we still get our weapons to support the war in Ukraine. I think it's ridiculous. I had this conversation recently with multiple people and even my mom. Like, obviously you talk about politics and stuff like that in some sort of way when you talk about your own country, and that's fine. But I think it's ridiculous that we pay money for other countries whenever we're so rich and everybody's living poor. You know what's crazy, Drix, is that 50k USD, like less than that, 50k to 30k, 34k is like, I think 60-70% of people earn that in Norway. And I'll be real with you, I don't understand how anybody can survive in this country without minimum like 60 to 70k or like yearly income. I think that to live comfortably, you need at least 100k yearly income. Otherwise, I don't understand how people survive. And like, it's crazy to see a country with so much wealth wasted on the shit when people are actually slaves there nearly. At least, yeah. Like chicken prices, like that's the thing I care about. Like, is that's the kind of politics I care about in my own country. I don't give a fuck about any other country. UK, Germany, America, I don't fucking care. I care about where I live, right? And I think that the only type of politics I care about is like figuring out why the fuck prices are so high, and why are you wasting a lot of tax money on the random bullshit, you know? 100k NOK makes sense yet? No, 1 million Norwegian kroner. You need to make a minimum 1 million Norwegian kroner to live comfortably. Like making less than 500,000 Norwegian kroner, you're living as a slave or a wage cuck. You're barely able to survive. Like, it's crazy, but more than half of the population live like that. It's nuts. Prices are too high. Anyways, we're going away.
And I love looking at the stats.
Politics. Shut the fuck up.
I don't know. Even while all this stuff was going down, I did find it terribly interesting to look at the back end stats of what was happening. And it was kind of interesting. I'm not gonna lie. So the way YouTube works as well when you lose subscribers, by the way, is that it does it in increments of 10,000. And so sometimes some people, you know, they love to be like, oh, they lost this many, right? Not entirely true. I can actually tell you the exact amount of subs that we lost because I think it's interesting. And I think that it also serves value to explain that it is not just people outside of Trash Taste. We did lose subs. I can tell you exactly how many.
I think it's stupid for viewers to, I mean, I get it, but I think it's really stupid to leave because of one episode. To unsubscribe from one episode, a podcast with over 200 episodes, and they're going to do more episodes that are different. But just this one episode is like, oh my God, I can't watch it anymore. I'm leaving. Like, I think that's stupid. I mean, just don't watch that episode and wait for the next one.
Right now, let me find out. We lost 4,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Which
4,000 bitches.
Is not a lot, but I also think it is disingenuous, and I think it's
they could be doing it as a protest. I think that's fine. Actually, you know, like I think the mindset, by the way, is the dumb part. I think it's fine to show your distaste for this scenario and write it in comment, dislike the video, and write it on the Reddit, and even unsubscribe. I think it's fine to show that you are not satisfied. But I'm talking about the people that are thinking just this, that I am done, this is the breaking point, is over, while the rest was completely fine. Like, if you just don't like one specific episode, just move on. But I think every viewer is in their right to show their distaste. And I think that even content creator wants to know. Obviously, all content creators want everything to be good. But you need to be told when there's something bad. And I don't think you need to do the unsubscribing. I think you just need to do the comment and dislike and even the Reddit post, and it will send the message. It will tell them what is wrong. More than actually just the comment will tell them what's wrong. Because I bet during these scenarios, they read everything.
Pretend like, you know, that.
Also, if you don't watch, that's already doing the damage. Like, if you're not watching the video, that's doing the damage. If you didn't watch anything or just watched a minute and stopped, that's already doing the damage. There's a difference between, like, watching the entire video will give it ad revenue, and they will also advertise it and spread more in the algorithm. And because you're not watching or watching barely anything, it will make it less likely that YouTube recommend it to other people. So it's already, this video itself is damaging in total.
People aren't unhappy.
Downvoting used to be good until YouTube removed the dislike button. I mean, you can still downvote, and downvotes have always done the same thing. It's the same as a like for YouTube algorithm, and you can just download an extension to show it. But like, in the end of the day, downvoting is the same. It's the same. It's the same. The YouTuber still sees as downvote, and I think that the downvote kind of is important for the YouTuber more than the viewer, in my opinion. I can understand if you're looking up a 2019 guide on how to get pirated games. You kind of want to know, look at the like and dislike ratio for eligibility of the tutorial. But for a content creator, just fun, haha. I think that the like ratio is more for the content creator to know if people like it or not.
So like, you know, I'm like that's sad. I feel bad that 5,000, 4,000 people who watch Trash Taste feel like they can no longer watch it. That feels bad, and that's a miscalculation on our part.
I saw that somebody said in chat that that's not a lot, and it's not, but there's still 4,000 people that felt that way, and that's something you should take as a criticism.
There was also a couple of stuff.
Doesn't downvote mean giving it engagement and YouTube will most likely recommend it? That's what I heard. Yes. So you know, like and dislike on YouTube, they fundamentally mean something different, but in the system, they're the same. They're both the same engagements. So if you dislike a video or like the video, it will regardless give the same kind of outcome. It's more about how the content creator feel about it. That's why it's funny whenever you have like hate watchers that are constantly disliking the video. Like you can tell, like I've had this before as well. Like I've had some people that are just disliking every video of mine. And I mean, I'm like, okay, funny, but you can kind of tell whenever people are disliking after just watching 5 or 10 seconds. And that's not an eligible kind of response for a YouTuber or any content creator to take any knowledge of. I wish that, you know what I wish, and I know people would hate this. People would really much express dislike for this. Haha. I wish that whenever you click the dislike button, you were required to add a comment or the dislike wouldn't go in. I think that would be the best outcome because I feel like whenever someone dislikes something, I wish to know what they dislike. Or this could be something you enable yourself on your channel. I personally would love that because whenever I see something like that, I want to know why they dislike the video. I want to take it as criticism. But I understand as a consumer that would find them annoying. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to watch a video or a content creator, you have a button as well to say, do not recommend this, I don't like this video, or do not recommend this channel. So you can use those instead of the dislike if you want to think that I don't want to watch more of this kind of content. I just wish that dislike were more used for, instead of hate, to give criticism. You know what I mean? But I'm a content creator. I think I'm a content creator brain, and a consumer brain thinks in a different way.
Flying around, that was interesting. So first of all, a lot of people were accusing me of deleting comments. We're not deleting comments. We never have.
Whenever people say that, it's usually that other people report their comment and it get deleted by YouTube, or it's just like hidden somewhat. That's probably it.
YouTube has auto moderation, so naturally, if you put the word terrorist in a comment, a lot of the time YouTube is going to flag that because why would
pretty much,
you know? And there was some of the comments were kind of crazy. Some of the language was inflammatory, and they're like, why is my comment being deleted? And they said like literally like the 5 key words that would get you banned. One other thing that I noticed is that when I looked at the comments and I'd scroll, and I don't know what's happening here, and I don't know what exactly is happening, but I would literally see comments, because I was watching the comment feed from the back end, right? So from like the admin side, that some comments would appear that were negative comments, which is fine, I don't care, that would have 10 likes within like 1 second, which I thought was like, because on YouTube, the most important part of a comment's lifespan is not if it gets to 5,000 likes, it's if it can get a lot, like a 10 to 20 likes in the first like 10 seconds, because that's what will bump it up. So I don't know.
Yeah, we are in a phase now. I've noticed this by talking to a different content creator that is seeing this a lot. We're in a phase now where a lot of people are botting to spread hate. They'll make like a Reddit post or a tweet, and they bot those tweets or Reddit posts that are focused on hate, or they're in an organized Discord group to just bot it and like it and get these things spread as much as possible. We're in a really interesting phase where a lot of people are doing this quite often. They're abusing the systems and botting things to spread more focus on hate, which is very interesting.
What's going on there and how that works, but that was the thing. One other also thing that I noticed that I will just mention very briefly,
people play hate, yeah,
is that there was obviously a lot of bandwagoning on it because people were loving it and people don't like Hasan, and so people were jumping on it and making videos about it. There was a lot of stuff that people said that was just flat out not true, and people were just making stuff up. Some people were saying like, oh, they didn't have this guest on. They said they were too controversial, but they had another guest on. That's never happened. That's just a bunch of lies. So I don't know what that was about. There was also the only things that were disappointing from me, my perspective as well, that like really, I was like, man, what the fuck? Is that people would then make whole narratives based around, because we had X on, that we then couldn't criticize any other creator. We couldn't, you know, they were like, oh, you know, these people have changed, they're horrible, yada, yada, yada. And that was like, oh, okay, that sucks that people are just making assumptions, but not a big deal.
They do it all the time.
But yeah, no, I mean, look, the reason why we didn't address it right away, we wanted to wait, was because a lot of people were, you know, they were just demanding things. There were a lot of comments that were like, you need to delete this episode, where I feel pretty confident in saying this, where if you ask Trash Taste viewers, do you want them to delete the episode? I think most viewers are sensible. They would say, hey, even if I don't agree with this episode or I don't agree with this one, I wouldn't want you to delete it.
Just don't watch it. That's all you gotta do. Just don't watch it.
An episode, you know, I think that's crazy. Now,
deleting
also,
is too far.
I want to make it very clear as well, in case you're watching this on YouTube, that because this is no doubt going to be a clip, that I'm sure that there's a good chance the comments, you know, might get.
Do you watch the channel and not agree with everything? I think so too. I think that's fine. I think that's interesting. Like, I've had some commenters say that I don't agree with you every point, but I still listen to them, and then they always give their counterpoints on a lot of things. I think that's good. I don't think that's, I think it's interesting. And I can see myself also find it interesting to watch someone that I disagree with. And you can also disagree with the content and watch it, or you don't have to watch it. It's all up to you, how you spend your free time.
Depending on how big this clip is, please think for yourself. Please don't just read top comment and form your opinion based around that. Obviously, you're all adults. I trust you. And what I really appreciated is that a lot of Trash Taste fans did seem to be just tired of people picking a side and being emotionally charged about it, and we're kind of just like, hey, maybe it's not for me, all good, next episode. Or hey, I don't engage with this, I'm done. So yeah, I appreciate a lot of the sensibility in this, because I think, look, we live at a time where everyone is so emotionally charged, and there's just so much rhetoric and so much, you know, everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got a side. And so I appreciate that people...
We do have a luxury problem on the internet nowadays. We're so well adjusted. We're so well off that anything on the internet, we need to put all of our emotion through and go crazy. It is quite exhausting, but that is how the internet is nowadays. Everybody takes most things and basically make it personal, which is unfortunate.
Times can have a sensible approach to it. I think what you will always get from me is never a clear-cut answer. You will always get an argument that I try to be as sensible as possible, and I try to consider all sides. And I'm not like a centrist or anything like that, or whatever, or any fucking thing like that. The reason I don't talk about my political opinions online is not because I don't have any political opinions. It's just because I just think that the online space does not get anything out of me talking about it. There's nothing to engage.
Politics most of the time is stating your opinion, and that's it, and other people will never change their mind. That's how I feel like it. I feel like it's a useless conversation to be had, because everybody's affirm to their own opinion, and that's fine. And that's how it should be in a way. But like, I feel like you talking about it is not going to change anything. You will either have someone agree or disagree, and that's it. Like, there's no adding more fuel to this is not really doing anything. It feels like a waste of time, in my opinion.
I don't think it provides any value.
I'm calling it. Yeah, I just want to have fun.
I just hate France, chill. And I think that's a fair opinion. But, you know, at the end of the day, I feel that the internet would be a lot better off if some people just knew how to shut the fuck up.
True.
And that's kind of where I stand. And so I'm of the opinion that, look, I think...
Bro, stop typing. Take it easy. Lay down.
I'm an informed guy, but I also recognize that the internet doesn't benefit from me sharing my opinion. And it's okay also to not have an opinion. I think it's also okay to not give a fuck, because I think it's kind of fucking exhausting right now. And look, you don't always have to be on 24/7. I think you can tackle it at your own way. You can tackle it in the way that you want. But, you know, I was inevitably going to talk about this at some point anyway, just because I wanted to talk about it as well. I didn't feel pressure to talk about it at all, but I thought there was a lot of interesting things to discuss, and I'm sure I'm going to look back at this clip and feel like I should have said 10 different things differently. But I think the underlying point is the same. Of like, look, to the Trash Taste fans that are disappointed, sorry, you know, it is unfortunate. Are we going to delete the episode? No. If you did you unsubscribe? Okay, I apologize for that you felt the need to unsubscribe. But at the end of the day, you know, there was it was just we did not estimate what would happen.
That's fine.
And then there's like a million drama channels that jump onto it, and it's like, okay, this is just, you know, it went from.
I think a lot of people just like, everybody just want drama nowadays, and they're all mad about stuff, and you just were in the middle of it because you invited Hasan. And I think that in the end of the day, Connor and everybody else there are nice people. They're great, and they still do anime podcasts. I think that this episode could just be brushed off and ignored, and there's Hasan doesn't get invited again. And they try to stay a little bit more they double check a little bit more that nobody inviting has like a really weird internet scenario right now, so they can just chill out, because people don't want to deal with this. Drama is exhausting, it's boring, and most people just want to move away from it. I'm actually surprised that he didn't think inviting the current Hasan isn't going to have a problem. He had no idea about what the current Hasan is. He doesn't pay attention to it. And that's the thing. He had no idea about that. Neither did the rest.
The opinion of actual Trash Taste fans to very quickly becoming the opinion of like certain groups who would just kind of rally around it. So yeah, it was unfortunate. And you know, people will all come into chat or they comment and stuff, and they're like, hey, when are you know, how fucking dare you? Are you going to address this? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, look, at the end of the day, if I address it, a lot of these groups of people are not going to be happy with anything or any kind of response, right? Because if you say, I'll delete it, a lot of fans who didn't give a fuck will be annoyed. If you say, all right, we won't delete it, then they'll get annoyed no matter what. And then maybe it's deleting is not enough for some people, you know? So if you start trying to chase apologies, you end up just pleasing no one and just looking like a coward. You know, which is why when, you know, Hasan saw it and he felt bad and he was like, hey, are you going to make a statement or anything? I was like, no, I'm not going to make a fucking statement. Who gives a fuck?
Let's move on.
Like, you're not going to please anyone by making a statement.
True.
People just want to be annoyed because they want to be annoyed right now. You didn't watch and moved on? Look, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think the internet would be so much better if we had a bit more respect, but hey, look, that's how it goes.
Yeah, it would.
You will engage in the cultural. I'm doing everything in my fucking power not to, because I don't give a fuck. Because I feel like half the time, it's not even about like politics or anything like that. It's just about being right or wrong, or being on the side.
Yeah,
it's just pure tribalism, man, and I just don't want to engage with it. It's just bad for your brain. It just doesn't help. I just feel worse.
You get nothing from it.
Or when I like whenever there's like absolutely demonstrably false things being said, I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I can't engage with this anymore. Like,
no, he has had Hasan on the podcast 2 years ago. He knows Hasan. He's met him and been in the US with him. So, Hasan has visited him in Japan.
Again, I want to reiterate that
they know each other for a long time.
Because we saw him reacting to it and being like, hey, get in there and stop. You know, he was trying to brigade against people who were brigading it, who they were. There was Trash Taste fans who didn't like it, and there was people brigading. And I told Hasan, I was like, don't do this. I think it's petty, makes you look bad, and I think it's pathetic. So don't do this. Don't tell people to get in there and fucking brigade it.
Yeah.
So I think it doesn't help anyone.
It makes it more awkward. It just makes it weird.
Yeah, that's that. That's that. That's pretty much all there is to it. I think it's not going to be a lot. I apologize to people who are not going to be satisfied with me talking about it in this way. This is the best you're going to get.
Asmongold, when you react H3 Reddit, you know you will see this.
I've genuinely nothing else to add. I wish it was more eloquent, and I wish I had a script, but I think also these are the kind of situations where I think it's just better to be honest and just talk about it candidly.
Hi, Asmon. I don't think Asmon even watched the shit. Alman CL, yeah, that's
it. No,
I don't think Alman is gonna look at this. As far as I know, he doesn't give a fuck. he has enough politic bullshit to react to get a million bunch of views. But yeah, there it is. I get my assumption were right. That's exactly what I thought. They just didn't know, and it is what it is. They're in their own bubble and they don't give a fuck. And I think that in the end of the day, they'll take it as a learning experience and just double check a little bit and don't invite politics in the future. That's good. I think that's what everybody wanted, right? They don't invite politics in the future. Now, deleting the video is a little bit too much, but overall, I think that's pretty reasonable. I think I could fully support what Connor said. I completely agree with everything he said. But you tell me down below what you think. Like this video if you enjoy it. Sub to the channel if you want to watch more. And if you want to with me live and join us live, free to come by my Twitch channel on twitch.tv/Saturday. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.